Today we take you back to the 90s, an era when Japanese sports bikes screamed speed, power, and endurance. These machines were crafted with one thing in mind: to last forever. Breaking records with legendary speed, here are the 5 Japanese sports bikes that have refused to die. Back in 1990, Kawasaki did something wild. They built a bike that shattered speed records and left the competition scrambling to catch up. The Kawasaki ZX-11, also known as the ZZR 1100 in some markets, wasn't just fast for its time. It was the fastest production motorcycle in the world when it launched. This wasn't a bike for the faint of heart. It was a missile on 2 wheels, and even today, it holds a special place in motorcycle history. At the heart of the ZX-11 was a 1052cc liquid-cooled inline-4 engine that pumped out around 145 horsepower. That might not seem insane by modern standards, but back then, it was groundbreaking. This beast could hit a top speed of around 176 miles per hour, making it the king of speed for 6 straight years until the Honda Blackbird showed up. What's even crazier? The ZX-11 didn't just hit that speed, it did it smoothly, like it wasn't even trying. Riders described it as effortless, which only added to its legend. Kawasaki introduced something new called the Ram Air Induction System, the first of its kind on a production bike. This system forced more air into the engine at high speeds, giving it an extra boost when you really open the throttle. Design-wise, the ZX-11 had an aggressive yet sleek look. Its large fairings weren't just for show, they helped with aerodynamics, reducing drag at high speeds. The long wheelbase added stability, which was crucial when you're flying down the highway at nearly 180 miles per hour. Despite its size, it handled surprisingly well with a twin-spar aluminum frame that kept it stiff and responsive in corners. The thing was built like a tank. The engine was over-engineered, meaning it could handle stress that most riders would never put it through. With proper maintenance, this motorcycle can clock well over 100,000 miles without breaking a sweat. The Kawasaki ZX-11 was revolutionary. It changed what people thought a motorcycle could do. Think modern bikes are tough? Wait until you meet number 4, Yamaha YZF 600R. Released in 1996, the Yamaha YZF 600R didn't try to be the flashiest or the fastest bike on the market. Instead, it found the sweet spot between high performance and everyday usability, which is exactly why it's still admired today. While other sports bikes from the 90s have become garage queens, the YZF 600R keeps rolling, proving its toughness mile after mile. At its core was a 599cc liquid-cooled inline-4 engine that produced around 100 horsepower. That was no small number back then, and it still holds up today. The bike could reach speeds of over 150 miles per hour, and it had a strong mid-range power band, making it quick not just on the track but also on regular roads. Riders appreciated how it didn't demand constant gear shifting to stay in the sweet spot. It had enough grunt to pull hard, even if you weren't riding like a racer. What really made YZF 600R stand out was its versatility. Unlike many of its more aggressive competitors, this bike was designed with comfort in mind. The seat was plush, the handlebars were positioned to reduce strain on your wrists, and the suspension soaked up bumps without feeling too soft. This meant you could ride it all day without feeling like you'd been through a wrestling match. Its design was clean and purposeful. The fairings weren't just slapped on for looks, they provided real wind protection at high speeds. The twin headlights gave it a sharp, recognizable face, and the frame's geometry offered stability without sacrificing agility. The steel Delta box frame provided a solid structure, balancing strength and flexibility for confident handling. The engine is known for being almost indestructible if basic maintenance is done. The cooling system, transmission, and clutch are all built to last. It's common to find these bikes with over 100,000 miles on the clock, still running strong. Yamaha didn't cut corners. They built a machine that could handle daily rides, long road trips, and even the occasional track day without falling apart. The YZF 600R isn't just a relic from the 90s. It's proof that a well-designed bike doesn't have an expiration date. What's your favorite 90s sports bike? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more two-wheeled legends. Introduced in 1990, the Kawasaki ZZR 600 quickly made a name for itself as the kind of bike that could do it all. It wasn't just built for blistering speed, though it had plenty of that. The ZZR 600 carved out its own space by being fast, durable, and surprisingly comfortable, a rare combination that helped it stick around long after many of its rivals faded away. Under the fairings, the ZZR 600 packed a 599cc liquid-cooled inline-4 engine that produced around 98 horsepower. On paper, that might not sound earth-shattering today, but it was enough to push the bike to a top speed of around 153 miles per hour. It wasn't just quick off the line either. It had a strong mid-range power, which meant it didn't need to be screaming at redline to feel alive. Riders loved how it pulled smoothly through the gears, whether they were blasting down highways or weaving through city streets. What really set the ZZR 600 apart was how easy it was to live with. Kawasaki designed it to be more than just a weekend toy. The seat was wide and cushioned, the riding position relaxed enough for long rides, and the fairings provided decent wind protection without making the bike feel bulky. This made it a favorite for commuters who wanted speed without sacrificing comfort. The design, while not as aggressive as some pure race replicas, still turned heads. Its twin headlights gave it a distinctive look, and the aerodynamic fairings weren't just for style. They helped reduce drag and improve high-speed stability. The bike's steel perimeter frame provided a strong backbone, making the ZZR 600 feel solid in corners without being overly stiff. But what's kept the ZZR 600 alive in the hearts of riders is how well it's aged. The engine is known for being practically bulletproof, with countless examples still running strong after racking up serious mileage. It's not uncommon to find 90s models that have been ridden hard for decades with minimal issues, as long as basic maintenance was done. The Kawasaki ZZR 600 didn't rely on gimmicks or trends. It was built with solid engineering, smart design, and a focus on real-world performance. Number 2 has conquered roads, broken records, and outlived trends. Yamaha FZR 1000. When Yamaha unleashed the FZR 1000 in 1987, it didn't just make another fast bike, it sparked a revolution. By the early 90s, the FZR 1000 had evolved into something almost untouchable, earning the nickname the Genesis because it felt like the beginning of a new era in sport bike engineering. Even today, decades later, riders talk about it like it's some kind of legend, and for good reason. With a 1002cc liquid-cooled inline-4 engine that roared with authority, it was built with Yamaha's Genesis 5-valve technology, meaning each cylinder had 5 valves instead of the usual 4. Why? More airflow, better combustion, and ultimately more power. The result? Around 145 horsepower, an insane number for this time. This beast could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds and reach speeds of over 170 miles per hour. But speed alone doesn't make a bike last forever. What made the FZR 1000 special was how it handled that speed. Yamaha introduced an aluminum Delta box frame, which was lighter and stiffer than traditional steel frames. This gave the bike razor-sharp handling without making it feel twitchy or unstable. Riders could carve through corners with confidence, feeling like they were part of the machine, not just sitting on top of it. The design was another standout feature. Sleek, aggressive lines with twin headlights give it a fierce, no-nonsense look. Unlike some bikes that look fast but don't deliver, the FZR 1000 backs up every inch of its aggressive styling with real performance. The engine was over-engineered, meaning it could handle way more stress than the average rider would ever put it through. Regular maintenance kept it happy, but it wasn't fragile. Many FZR 1000s from the 90s are still tearing up roads today with hundreds of thousands of miles on the clock. The FZR 1000 wasn't just a product of its time, it was ahead of its time. Not all legends fade, some roar louder with time. Number 1. Honda CBR 600F. When Honda introduced the CBR 600F in 1987, it created a machine that redefined what a middleweight sport bike could be. By the 1990s, the CBR 600F had become the go-to bike for riders who wanted speed, reliability, and everyday usability rolled into one sleek package. its reputation wasn't built on hype, it was built on performance and durability that still holds strong decades later. The bike packed a liquid-cooled 599cc inline-4 engine capable of pushing out around 100 horsepower, which was impressive. It could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3.5 seconds, with a top speed of about 150 miles per hour. But here's the kicker, it wasn't just fast on paper. Riders found it incredibly smooth, responsive, and surprisingly forgiving, making it as great for daily commutes as it was for track days. Unlike many high-performance bikes that demand constant attention, the CBR 600F earned its legendary status because it just kept going. Its DOHC, double overhead camshaft, engine design was both efficient and tough, handling thousands of miles without breaking a sweat. Maintenance? Basic problems? Rare. This wasn't a bike that lived in the garage waiting for a mechanic. It was out on the road year after year, mile after mile. Design-wise, the CBR 600F didn't scream for attention with flashy gimmicks. Its aerodynamic fairings were sleek and functional, reducing wind drag and improving stability at high speeds. The dual headlights gave it a sharp, aggressive face, while the comfortable seat and balanced riding position made long rides a breeze, something most sports bikes can't claim. What really sets the CBR 600F apart is how well it blends everything together. It wasn't the fastest, lightest, or most extreme bike of its era, but it excelled in every category without compromise. Thanks for watching, guys. If you loved this ride through 90s sports bike history, hit that like button to keep the engines roaring. Don't miss out on more epic bike content. Subscribe now and ride with us through every story.